Yes, welcome to another episode. I'm just taking the opportunity here to recline in our field of what might look from the outside a little like grass, but in fact we've got some oats and some vetch here. Right back, I think, in the very first episode, I've got some footage of Wendy planting this. And green manure, vetch is a legume, oats are oats, I don't know what they are, but they're great for green manure. So this was a bed that hadn't had a lot of, it had kind of perennial herbs in it. Didn't have a lot of compost and other kind of organic stuff dug into it. So we took the opportunity, given that we were kind of rebuilding everything, and that to plant the green manure, and basically we'll let it grow up to pretty much this stage here, which we've done in beds behind. Cut it all back and just dig it into the soil. Let it sit 6 weeks and it will break down, and adds just a ton of organic matter straight into the soil. So it's something that we'll try and do, particularly on beds in between. You know, if we have nothing specific to plant in them for a particular season, then we'll try and plant some green manure and just let it grow kind of over the off season. So anyhow, that's why I'm reclining right now. But today I want to talk about watering. There was a Facebook post during the week, someone was asking about watering, and I thought it seemed the opportune time, given that we have got some nice sunny weather. Here we are, second week of spring, and of course the summer's going to come along. The heat is going to crank up, and getting water to the plants, of course, is everything. Now, when we built this garden 10 years ago, given that it was 12 beds, then we really had to kind of think through what our strategy was going to be to get water to the plants. Obviously, water needs plants. We need water. Water needs plants. Did I say that? What? Plants need water. So I'll show you what our system is here and why we kind of have kind of gotten to where we have. And there's different ways you can do it. And given that also it's 10 years ago, so technology has moved in all sorts of I was going to say positive ways, mostly positive ways, and with watering that's no exception. And there are some advances in technology that we kind of don't have here, but that are available now and are worth looking into. But anyhow, the thinking kind of went like this. We were building a big veggie bed, a big veggie garden, 12 beds. So our options to water, I guess there were three. So, we could have gone fully manual, got ourselves a hose and a sprinkler or a tap, and just watered all the garden that way. Obviously, it takes a lot of time, far too much time, more time than what we had, but probably more time than what anyone would have. There's far more productive things you can do, I think. Anyway, it wasn't going to work for us. Look, manual has its place. Two things I can think of. One is when I buy my Ferrari, like that's going to happen, but let's just pretend. Then I think manual is probably the way to go. Although if there's Ferrari drivers out there, by all means, let me know. And maybe there's some hybrid automatic thing I should be looking at, because obviously it's very important that I choose the right Ferrari. But I digress. We do the watering that you just saw then, that wasn't staged. We plant the carrots direct, and they need just a light water every day until they come up, 3, maybe 4 weeks. So it doesn't need to be very deep, but it does need to be constant. And as you'll see a little bit later, the watering system only gives out the water, not as a spray. We don't have a system like that. So anyway, we do manual for when we plant directly, but that wasn't going to be an option for the full beds. So it was clear that we needed to look at some kind of automation and timer type arrangement. So that's what we did. So let's talk timers, shall we? These ones are probably the simplest little ones. Into the tap, just have a time. Sounds like the beginning of, I don't know, Mission Impossible. And they just run for a selected length of time, and that's it. They're okay, actually. They seem to work all right, but obviously not going to work for what we do out there. The electronic timers, so I don't know if you can see in there, but no shortage of timers that we've tried over the years. So this one here, so this is an electronic type. Simple arrangement. It just has the frequency, so how often, and then how long it runs for on the other dial. Basically, all these electronic timers have the same kind of idea. They're in two sections. You've got the brains that controls what the timer does, the microprocessor, if you like, and then there's some kind of electronic valve or tap arrangement that turns on and off when the brains tell it to. The problem with these ones is that they run on a battery in here, and like all things that run on a battery, when you most need it to work, the battery won't work. They don't like being outside in our cold winters, so at a time when they're not being kind of used all the time, that we would have to bring them in. The cold winters kind of wreck the mechanism a little bit. And even doing all of that, they just didn't last very long. You might get a year or two out of them, but one of the dials would crap out, or just something wouldn't work. So they weren't very reliable. Not super expensive, but to me, the idea of an automated system, firstly, it's never fully automated, so get that idea away straight away. But something you want it to be as self-sufficient as possible. And these are fine, I guess, for us. We will use them in outlying areas if we've got something that we're getting established, or and we'll use them for that. But we don't. I wouldn't certainly rely on a bank of these, 12 of these for our system out here. No, that wasn't going to work. So yeah, we had to look at a bigger system, and that's initially that's what we did when we were building the garden. That is what we built into it, and I'll show you that now.